Virginia Newman of Nefertiti Gourmet Coffee. Does Nefertiti Gourmet Coffee have a take-home product line?
Yes, we do. We have our 1 pound bag that so many of our customers ask for. And here we can see it's a pretty ebony green or Logan green, I think sometimes been told, bag. And we have the picture of the queen on the front. Around here, the frame is coffee beans, of course. Is the coffee beans. And then, of course, we have the queen with her hat on. The hat with the red that represents the blood of our people. The blue represents the ponds of the waters that we crossed to come to America. And then the green, of course, is the land. And black is the people. Gold is the metals of Africa. And if you go to the back, you'll see a little instruction on how to make the coffee and where we are located. And we say brew and savor the flavor. Great coffee comes anytime.
This is for me to get coffee. Why should I choose your distribution company? What sets you apart?
Well, I think we have the best coffee there is. I know we provide the greatest service there is. If you place an order on our website, say before noon, any day, you'll have it the next day by breakfast time.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, we do have a drop service. We have local delivery if you're here in the Chicagoland area, so we are sure you'll have it the next day, in time for breakfast the next day or even for a dinner meal.
Right, right. I'm amazed just sitting here listening to you, because you're not just saying this is a cup of coffee, but you're providing jobs for the community. You provide an education. You have take-home products, and then you're going to get it to me the next morning. I think that is absolutely outstanding. How long have you been in this business, and what was, you've already shared with us briefly about your inspiration, but could you go into that just a few minutes more?
You know, I had a travel agency on 75th Street for over 20 plus years. And when the 911 came along, I said, uh-oh, gotta find another passion, because travel is not gonna be prospering in this corner anymore. So I was trying to find the next thing, and I've always heard people who were successful or who go into business for themselves say that if you have a passion and it's something you were willing to get up with, go to bed with, you basically die for, then that's what you should use as your business, not necessarily because of the money that's in it or because of some other reasons, because there are going to be days that it's going to be hard being in business. It's going to be really lean times and all this stuff. So I was thinking the next thing that I like to do other than travel was coffee.
Yes.
And bowl, and I'm a little too old to talk about going on a pro turkey, trying to learn to be a pro bowler. So then I said, let's go with the coffee. I love it. I enjoy making it. I give it to my friends for gifts, and they were encouraging me to, you know, you ought to do this, you ought to do this. And every time I go on a trip, I'm bringing back a different coffee. So I said, let's give it a try.
Right.
That's Nefertiti's was born.
I see that. I love it.
Passion. Like I said, the first thing I do, because my office is across the hall from my bedroom upstairs, the very first thing I do is go to my computer and see who, what, how many orders I've got. Make sure my website is working, because sometimes when you're an entrepreneur, you're everything. You're the floor sweeper, the cleaner, the accountant, the bookkeeper, the cooker. I mean, everything there is to do about a business, you do it. So I start the day out figuring out what's there, how many orders do I have to fill, where do I have to go, how am I going to drive, am I going to go north, south, east, and west, work my way back to city. I mean, all of it.
Absolutely.
All of it. My daughter helps me, but she's in school, so you know it all falls on mom.
Oh, of course. Oh, yes.
Internet has been a lifesaver, that's for sure. You can just go there and order whatever you want to order, and next day or so it's right at your doorstep. You didn't even have to go out for it.
Right.
Push through crowds or any of that kind of stuff.
Or fight in the crazy Chicago traffic.
Oh, yes.
Is this like gourmet coffee a lucrative one?
It's very lucrative if, you know, I don't like to talk about our competitions too much, but you always got to know what your competition is doing. Starbucks started this gourmet business, I think a good 15, 20 years ago. And in the process, everybody, I just sometimes amaze and watch. If I'm on the bus or if I'm sitting someplace, watch. Everybody you see has a cup of coffee in their hand. It's like we can't get out of bed without it. We can't walk across the street without it.
Right.
We've got it everywhere. And I'm told that it is the second most imported thing that we import to the United States other than oil.
Really?
Yes. We drink more coffee and no special time of the day. Anytime we do anything, we want a cup of coffee. It's breakfast food, a breakfast drink. It's a lunch drink, it's a dinner drink, it's a cocktail drink, and now they've started to make them into freezies and smoothies.
Yes.
So
yes.
I guess there's no end for what we can do with coffee.
I never did know what was the distinction between the grades.
Actually, with the grade, it has a lot to do with the size of the bean,
Okay.
whether the bean, I don't know who originated the idea of grading it and calling it an AA or a double A, but if you get an A bean, that's a good bean, don't get me wrong.
Okay.
And if you get an AB bean, it's
Okay.
okay. But everybody wants the double A.
Okay.
And I know a lot has to do with the size, the way it's roasted, where it's grown. There's a lot of factors that go into how they decide to grade it. But when they take that little bark off of it after they picked it, they kind of spread it out so that they can really, really observe it. It's usually done by hand. It's not a machine that does it. So that again makes it so the person has to have kind of keen eye vision for looking for this perfect bean.
The larger the bean, then the higher the grade.
Yes,
Okay. And
but we don't want them to be out of, how can I say, we don't want them to be extraordinary. We want them to be of a medium size and that they will have the perfect little shape and everything to it.
Right.
It's not going to be a bean that would probably have grown to attach to another like that. It would be a separate bean.
Okay.
Each of my handled beans, and they would be nicely done, not grown on top of each other, not flattened out, or they would all look just perfect.
Right. That the whole production of coffee is labor intensive,
It is.
and that probably describes why, or explains why, the coffee is so costly.
Yes.
Now, what would you consider to be the most unusual item on your menu?
The most unusual item that we have is we get some coffee cups from South Africa, and you would have to see them to appreciate them.
Okay.
They're kind of flowery shapes, sort of like this, and that's the shape. But each one will have a lion or a tiger as its holder. So instead of holding a handle that's round like we see in America, you see the sculpture of a lion or a tiger or different animals in Africa as the holder of this coffee.
Every good idea has an inspiration. Can you tell us what was the inspiration for your business?
Grandpa Ennis was unable to work in the fields and he owned a farm. So he wasn't able to work in the field, but he was good at dedicating everything, did what everybody else should do on the farm. So he sat under the shade tree and kind of gave out orders as to how folks were supposed to get about their day. In the process, he would be there for lunch, brunch, anything that came, anybody that came up and down the road. We live near a little country road.
Contact you, Virginia.
We have a website, nefertitisgourmetcoffee.com. We also have, here locally in Chicago, our phone number is 773-619-8061, or our 800 number is 888-391-5360. And we're open basically from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Monday through Friday. But if you call on Saturday, Sunday, we'll still get you some coffee.
Okay. Now you have a web address?
Yes. Web address is